Whether it's video games, music, films or TV, they provide comfort and joy. Many people use creative media as an escape from the real world. For some people, they can act as inspiration for a personal project or just as a simple way to pass the time. DVDs and video games reached their marketable peak in the 2000s and towards the 2010s. The great thing about them is you can play them whenever you want and wherever you want. Right, so nice to meet you. What's your name?
My name's Oliver. I'm the course leader for esports at Barnsley College.
Very nice. I'm Harry, by the way, in case you didn't know. So really, what inspired your love for games and move you on to want to become an esports teacher?
So, love for games. Started out from a young age. I've always had an older brother, and I remember having a PS1. And on his PS1, we used to take it in turns playing games. But I always just used to love watching him play them, which were a bit strange at times because I was terrible because I was younger. But I used to watch him play them, and I don't know, we kind of just were brought up like that. We used to love playing FIFA and stuff, so we'd always play against each other, and that was kind of like where it started and progressed on. And then opportunity arose where we actually created an esports degree and qualification. From that point, I've been full-time esports, and so kind of sharing that passion with students who study here.
It reminds me a bit of me and my brother, because he's 10 and I used to play games way more at the time. But what I'd do is I'd unplug his controller, sending because he'd want to play, say I was playing like Fortnite or whatever, but back then it was just single player, so he'd want to play. So I had to unplug his controller and pretend he was me. Same with like Minecraft though as well, or just that similar dynamic. So what do you think draws people to games?
The inclusivity. No matter, so again, I'm coming from a sports and esports background. With sport, there's so many barriers to participation, whereas with esports, regardless of how good you are at the game, there's a place for everyone. You can go home, you can play career mode on the easiest difficulty, and you can enjoy that and get entertainment out of that, whereas with sports, you're competing against someone a little bit more, so it's kind of a bit of a barrier. So I think having that inclusive sort of environment within esports is what really draws people to it, to give them the opportunities to participate and have that social interaction as well.
So I'm here with Phil, the owner of an independent vinyl shop called Create Digger Vinyl. Just going to ask him a couple of questions. Right, so first question, how and why did you start your business?
I'd had enough for doing what I was doing. I'd worked in heavy industry for about 30 years. I'd been collecting records since I was 14, and I just started selling some of those off on eBay to generate funds, turn into a bit of an hobby. And then a few years later, I just had enough for doing what I was doing, and I sold some of my record collection off, and I went back into engineering. I kind of had enough of that, want to do something different, and just by chance I was walking through Barnsley Market with my wife, and we just saw like some empty stalls, and I thought, I've got more than enough to fill one of these. I could probably fill 3 of these with the amount of stuff that I've got already. And just got some details, found out how much it had cost, and thought, well, I'll give it a try, and if it don't work out, I'll go back to doing a more serious job.
Since you said you started collecting them when you were 14, have you noticed like a decline or rise in like popularity since you started collecting them?
Certainly. I mean, records almost went off a cliff completely in sort of early 90s as CDs took off, which were sold as this great format. They're not the same, and I bought CDs for a period, but I went back to buying vinyl. And I just found I didn't feel as connected to them. But everything on vinyl then became very, very limited, which is why things like original Oasis and Pulp albums go for like £200-300 these days, because everything on vinyl were limited. It did look for a period as though vinyl would disappear altogether.
So, what's your name?
Adam.
Right, you're a film and TV student.
Yep.
Barnsley College.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, my name's Harry. And just how often do you watch films or TV with streaming? So not like DVDs or box.
Either every day or every sort of couple of days.
So quite often.
Yeah, I've
watch
tried.
more films or TV shows.
It's sort of both, depends on the day and what time I sort of have.
Do you still use DVDs?
Where possible, yeah. Yeah, I love collecting sort of DVDs, going out and buying them and then watching them back in my room. Things like that.
Coronavirus had a big impact on the industry as everyone was locked inside and forced to watch digital media. Because of this, no one had any need for physical copies, so we're asking the question, which is better? Streaming services are much more convenient with millions of subscribers, Netflix being the most dominant. Funnily enough, Netflix started as a DVD company. The same can be said for the music industry. For several years, independent vinyl shops have slowly been losing sales as the younger generations prefer streaming services such as Spotify or SoundCloud.
Fools on parade, cohorts and carry on for waiting eyes that you would rather be beside than in front of. No, she's never been the kind to be hollowed by the steps.
So why do you play online more than purchase discs?
So with obviously this environment we're in, obviously we're having PCs here, we can't purchase discs anymore, so the only sort of like cartridges we use is for us Nintendo Switches, where I purchase physical copies. So in this sort of environment we've got 160 kids on the course at the minute, and pretty much all of them go for that digital version rather than physical discs.
So do you still play with physical discs a lot more?
So not at the minute, no. So I have a PlayStation 5 at home. It's a digital version, so I don't necessarily get that experience that I used to with that. So yeah, mine's predominantly digital now.
Is it one of them where it can't? It doesn't even have like a slot for it or anything?
Yes. So with that, it was cheaper to purchase. So I chose to get that one instead.
Right. So I remember someone telling me about that, like all the consoles and the new ones that are coming out, most of them don't even have an option for physical anymore. It's like they're just trying to push it out and get rid of it, really.
And what they can do there, they can inflate the price of games as well, because you don't have a choice. Right. So whereas I could buy it, sell it to you for a tenner, we don't have that opportunity anymore to do that. So we'd all pay full price, so to speak.
It might be a bit obvious, but do you support vinyls more than like digital, like listening on Spotify or SoundCloud?
You know, I mean, when iTunes first sort of came on scene, the Apple side of it, it was like, wow, I can get any track. Because it used to be, if you'd not, I don't know, there might be an obscure song by a particular band on a really rare record, and there were no way of getting hold of that. And then when things like iTunes and that come along, suddenly everything's available to you. And then the digital side is very much reliant on you, like, what do I want to listen to? And the best things that I've ever, my favourite songs with every band are generally songs that I didn't know before I heard them, kind of thing. There might be an album track. I might have bought that particular album by Cure or something. And on B-side, the third track on B-side, I might absolutely have fallen in love with that. I'd have never found that on digital. I'd have never sought that out because I didn't know to look for it. So I played with iTunes for a little bit, but I quickly got bored of it and just thought, it's rubbish, this. It's just
convenience over experience. That's like a slogan about it. Because everything you want is literally like a couple clicks away, or you could just search. Like, you know when you just remember like one word from like one part of the song, you're going to try and figure it out which one. Most likely you can find it within.
Yeah, I mean, some
5-10 minutes of looking for it.
Some joy of like being in a record shop's gone in the sense that people can hold the phone against a speaker and say, what's this that I'm listening to? And it'll tell you. My lad does it all the time. But whereas back in the day, and even sometimes now with some people that I get in here, people come and sing stuff to you. What's this? And they'll try, and it goes, and you're like, I've no idea. And I've seen that loads of times in loads of different record shops where people will try and perform a little bit at a song to try. It don't generally sound anything like, but yeah, I've lost some of that, I guess.
Did you grow up watching TVs and films like quite a lot?
Oh yeah, I watched a lot growing up. A lot of sort of TV and films.
Or were that more streaming?
Definitely more DVDs, like a lot of DVDs.
So, as you're a film and TV student, what are you wanting to go into? More like uni or after uni? Is it all? Are you wanting to work in like the film industry or TV industry?
Yeah. So, film industry probably. Sort of like a director, like working on sort of on sets, sort of leading the productions and things like that.
All right. Do you think digital media, like streaming, like Netflix and Disney Plus, do you think that might have an effect on your career, do you think?
Yeah, I do actually, to be honest. Probably in a pretty big way, to be fair, because streaming's so popular now that sort of takes over everything. I mean, Netflix, Amazon, all these streaming services, they're making their own movies at this point. And it's sort of like, if you want to get your movie out there and seen, the best way to do it is from partnering with a streaming service and doing it through that.
No, I never thought of it that way, really. Like, because there's like Amazon originals, Netflix originals, they get promoted so much more than
Movies.
And you think like Stranger Things is like just one of the biggest shows there is at the minute, and that's a Netflix original. In the modern era of digital purchasing, we do not own what we have, but what we do own is the license that grants us permission to use the product. There's a special kind of experience when using physical media. It's a form of art that can be enjoyed with others, bringing people together. I still use and buy vinyls myself. It makes good background music and I like the feel. Do you think they can coexist? Like physical games and digital, do you think they can just be like an even...
Yes and no. I think with the way games are going at the minute in terms of esports, we're talking about free-to-play, Rocket League, Fortnite, Apex, whatever it is, you're never going to have a physical copy of that because you're never going to need to purchase it, so you're just going to download it online. So with the rise of them and the amount of money they make on in-game items, such as skins, guns, whatever, that's for me the takeover, and I can see in the future every single game, esport, being free to play, whereas video games could still be a physical copy maybe, but in terms of esports predominantly, I don't think they will coexist.
So do you think they could, digital music and physical, do you think they can like coexist? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think they'll coexist, but I think digital will. I was going to say I think digital will decline because I think the appeal of the physical side of things will draw more and more people in. More and more people will get something out of, actually owning something as opposed to just downloading. People really enjoy it. A lot of people come in this shop, don't buy anything, but they just enjoy flicking through and looking at them.
Picking it up and going, oh, I really like them.
Yeah, I could do that on my computer screen all day, couldn't I? Look at sleeves, and that's not going to do anything for me.
So do you think physical media and digital media, do you think they can have like a healthy coexistence?
I hope it can, but it's hard to sort of say because, I mean, actually coming across like DVD players and things like that is sort of more rare now. I think they'll probably become more of a niche pick, and like almost like what vinyls are. Like you'll go out to buy DVDs as like, oh look, here are sort of DVDs, something we used to have. I think, to be honest, streaming will probably become the big thing. That's where everything will be on streaming. You might find the odd DVD here and there.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in a good few years, they'll end up in like antique shops. Or as like a collector's item. Yeah, that's what they're going to... Like you said, like just a niche thing. More as like a collector's item, whereas everything you want will always be on Netflix, Disney Plus. It's mainly just because it's more convenient. There's a pro and con to both. After what we've learned, I don't think one is better than the other. Both should coexist. Thank you very much for your time and brilliant answers, really.
Just about.
Very, very good conversation. Longest one we've had.
I told you I could talk quite a lot.
Right, thank you very much. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Adam. I'll talk to you whenever.